The other balancing act I thought of was a seesaw. So, but where we are at this point in time, as we're trying to balance the budget, the assigned net county cost for all of the departments total around $57.6 million, and that's
Allison,
not.
the seal's here if you hold it up to the light.
Yeah, I think you guys can see it, but I think it's gone now up there. I had it moving on, but.
I think we should move forward till we find that seal.
This one, it's a damn turtle.
I'm almost done here. Anyway, you're making it longer. So the assigned net county cost that went out to departments was $57.6 million. The budgets that were submitted by departments came back at $60.4 million. So, and there were a number of reasons for that, but that's a difference of nearly $3 million between what, at the time we sent those assigned net county costs, what we felt we had available as revenue, and what was submitted for.
That count the carryover? That's not count.
No, when we first set out the assigned net county costs, we were assuming no carryover at all. So, as I said, 57.6 million is what we signed out. What we got back was 60.4 million. The difference is nearly 3 million. It's 2.8 million. So, if you want to look at the gap or the shortfall that we were trying to fill when we initially got everything back, it was about $2.8 million. So, keep that in mind. We also asked the departments to tell us what the overall impact of absorbing the salary increases, any state cuts, etc. What is that going to be? And what they came back with is about $7.1 million. So that's on top of that gap in the actual money. And the way I like to phrase it is that's a loss of purchasing power. That basically, according to the departments, there was a loss of purchasing power of about $7.1 million between what we have available as revenue now to pay for operations and what they need to continue operations at the level they're at now. So when you add those two things together, you get nearly $10 million gap between what we feel we need and the revenues that we have available to us. And so balancing the budget is about how do you bridge that gap, or how do you close that gap. And so the overall gap when you start out is around $10 million. You know, treat this with somewhat of a grain of salt, but that's where we started out. So then the first part of it, these are budget reductions up front, knowing that there was going to be a shortfall in terms of revenues. That's why we put the 6% cut in the assigned net county costs. And as you saw, that reduced that $10 million loss of purchasing power down to around 2.8 million in the actual gap. So that was one of the things that we did up front. And then the other thing we did up front was ask departments to absorb the increases in wages and benefits, mostly through salary savings. So doing those two things essentially took care of about $7.1 million. Still a loss. I want to be really clear. It's still a loss to the departments in what they're able to do, but it's money that we didn't have. So then the next thing is,
I never did understand this concept, how you can lose money that you never had in the first place. Go on.
okay, I'll keep going.
They don't work in the private sector.
Hold on the reins, John, hold on the reins.
I'm sure there's something comparable in private sector.
Is I lost $1 million because I never had it in the first place, is that the concept here?
Well, essentially,
I just don't understand that.
yeah, I guess the way you could put it is that this year, the money that they had purchased at a certain level, they could purchase a certain amount at that. This next year, to try and purchase that same amount, they needed more money that they
I
didn't get.
understand, but my concept is if you never own a horse in the first place, how do you lose him?
Okay? So, the budget tightening then is what we did through the budget conference. So one of the things we are doing now is refining the projected costs of the market adjustment And to the extent that the projections are lower, then that helps bridge that gap, between the revenues available and the expenditures. The other thing is that, we're proposing to suspend, the vehicle replacement fund for 2008, 2009. And that means that essentially in this next year, at the end of the year, there would not be funds to, be able to replace vehicles. So it's kind of taking a vacation, if you will, from the vehicle replacement fund, and that results in savings. This has been done before, in dire situations, and it's not something you can sustain for a number of years in a row, but it's certainly something that can be done on a periodic basis. The other thing we did was held the line on capital projects and fixed assets. And, people had to have, very clear reasons of the necessity for anything in those areas. Because, you know, when things get tight, you don't remodel the, family room or whatever else the issues are when you look at it from a family standpoint. And then we're applying the insurance reimbursement to the Mill Creek Dam project so that, we don't have to, budget additional general fund money